is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another very special edition of the Burnout Brighter podcast. My name is Matt. I'll be your host for this evening's events. This is actually episode 132. I'm joined, as always, by my wonderful co-host, Destiny.
You know what? Nobody even knew that I did that. Nobody knew I did that. And you're trying to put me on blast.
I don't know what you're talking about. I never do that.
Hi, guys.
Never
Hi.
in my life would I ever put you on blast.
I'm super happy to be here with my co-host, Matt, who's trying to put me on blast. And we have a special guest today, a special co-host today.
We do have a special co-host who is the angry botanist himself, Mr. Mad Seedling, Lou, returning to hang out with us. Lou, thanks for joining us again.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And our very special guest, Lou's cool, but he's been here before. Yeah, but we're gonna steamroll right past that. We have an incredible musician. You may have heard her if you played the latest and greatest Horizon Forbidden West. We have Ariana joining us on the show today. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
We're so stoked to have you here to talk all about Horizon. I played Forbidden West. I really, really loved it. The music that you worked on was absolutely phenomenal. So I'm excited to dig in and get to know about the process and about yourself a little bit more. But before we do all that, make sure you guys are subscribed. Make sure you like. Make sure you hit the bell so you know when stuff comes up. We have our mental health power-up series going on right now. We also have a fundraiser going alongside that. Money going towards Guardians Mental Health. If you guys donate, you'll be able to win some cool special prizes, which include some wonderful 3-month passes for Game Pass Ultimate from our friends over at Xbox Canada. Mm-hmm. And from PlayStation Canada, they just sent over, speaking of it, Horizon Zero Dawn Complete Edition for PS4. We have Forbidden West for PS4, Forbidden West for PS5, and Gran Turismo 7 for PS4. So anything... Physical copies, anything that you put towards the fundraiser, you'll be entered to win one of those fantastic prizes. The links will be in the show notes, so make sure you're checking that out. And you make sure you also go check out our absolutely fantastic Black History Month series with the final episode being live now.
Tomorrow.
It'll already be live by the time this goes up.
Oh, that's true.
So go check that round.
Yeah, go check that out.
Go check out that round table. We had some fantastic guests join us for that. But without further ado, Ariana, if somebody somehow didn't know who you are, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Oh boy. Okay. There's going to be a bit of a history, I guess, because I started. I feel I'm a little bit older now than when I first started music, but I guess I first started as a professional musician when I was around 18. So instead of going to university, I actually ended up pursuing my own career for quite some time, for over a decade, actually. I am a singer-songwriter. I've recorded 3 full-length albums. I have a couple EPs as well. You can find those on iTunes, on Spotify, as well as my website. Nice. I've toured all over North America. Played at some really cool places. Actually, my favorite show that I ever played at was on a cruise ship called Cayamo, and it was just for musicians. So people actually go on the cruise ship because it's a festival on a cruise ship. So it's not like people are going on vacation. It's like people are going to see music. So it was super cool. And I was able to do that with a really amazing artist and producer named Buddy Miller, who ended up producing my last record called The Maze. So that was a really cool experience. But yeah, I've been a musician for a very long time. I've been involved with music for a very long time, since I was probably 6 years old. So yeah, it was always in my family, and I kind of just ended up going in that direction too. So it's super amazing. I love writing. I love playing. I especially loved working on the video game, actually, which we'll talk about, I'm sure, very, very shortly.
Yeah.
Because that was a totally different experience versus the stuff that I do. Because what I do is really I'm in my own world. I'm creating music. It's about me. I'm not doing it from the perspective of a different person. And so getting to play a role was a really, really cool, different experience for me. It was nice.
I'm excited to hear more about it. We were super excited when Lou told us that he knew you, and because we just talked about the game and it just came out, and then when you agreed to come on, Matt lost his shit.
A little bit. Just a wee little bit.
Just a tiny bit. But no, that's really incredible. Thank you for sharing all of that. And guys, we will definitely put links down at the bottom so you can go check out some of her other music as well. So yeah, we're doing all the work for you. You just got to click.
Yeah. There's literally no reason. Just scroll down. Nobody goes into the description. Lou,
I
I don't know what the
do.
problem is. Do you? I get told by people, they're like, nobody checks the description. You fuckers better go down there and take a look at the description, because there's going to be awesome information for you down there. All right.
Yeah, I do.
Lou,
That's why I told you to switch things up, because I read it all the time. Yeah, see?
There you go.
Oh.
Lou, you check the descriptions, right?
Yeah. Oh, every video, every time.
Sometimes, sometimes you don't even watch the video. You just go in, check the
He just
description,
goes
move on
check
with your
the
day.
description.
Yeah, the
He's like, oh,
description's
okay.
boring. I'm not watching.
This looks good.
Don't judge a video by its description, except when we do. Now, moving on, let's talk a little bit about what we've been up to. Lou, I'm going to start with you today. What's new? What's been going on? What have you been playing? What have you been watching? What's up? What's new?
Sure. Yeah. So, still playing World of Warcraft. I'm still raiding Tuesday, Wednesdays, Thursdays. That's always super fun. Yeah. So mostly still World of Warcraft. Haven't dived into Elden Ring yet, but hearing really good things about it. And then, what I'm watching lately has been a little unusual. I've been obsessed with Kitchen Nightmares clips on YouTube.
Okay.
Gordon Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares.
Okay.
It's really addicting and entertaining, and they have these compilation clips of all the best moments of the show, and it's really something else. So that's mostly what I've been watching, and then still working on music. My first single for the next album drops in a couple weeks, and then the full album drops May 18th. So yeah, just anticipating that and looking forward to get my streaming numbers back up. Yeah, but that's basically been it with me. It's been Gordon Ramsay and World of Warcraft.
That sounds like a perfect combination,
it sounds
honestly.
good.
Yeah.
Very relaxing.
It
exactly.
is.
Raid Kitchen Nightmare. I couldn't ask for a better Tuesday evening. Ariana, what? Oh, sorry, Lou. Go ahead.
Say or Raid and Kitchen Nightmares on the second screen. That's the
is
money
that what
right
you've
there.
been doing?
That's next level. That's awesome. That takes some serious multitasking ability. I'm the same way. I have like two things going on at all times because my brain is like, let me focus on everything rather than just devoting my attention to one thing. I don't know. I don't know how people do.
Even
how do you
at
focus on
work,
one thing?
You just focus on it.
I don't get it. What do you mean?
I've got my raid leader yelling in the left ear, and I've got Gordon Ramsay yelling in my right ear. That's sort of what it's like.
I couldn't do it. Absolutely not. Matt used to do that at work. He would be playing a game and I don't know what you would be doing, but it'd be like 3 different things at once. And I'd be like, what are you doing?
I had Destiny yelling in my right ear and angry music yelling in my left ear, and then playing a game and then watching a show. So I was just all over the place. Anyways, Ariana, what about yourself? What's new? What's been going on? What have you been up to?
Oh, man. So, well, I'm actually in university now. So when COVID started, I decided to go and get my undergrad because I had always wanted to for a long, long time. So now I'm in health sciences, and I'm actually applying to medical school this year. So that's kind of
hell yeah!
Congratulations!
Thank you. So that's
a huge difference.
Yes.
It's a huge jump from a musical career to going into medical.
Exactly.
What brought that on?
Well, I mean, I've always been really interested specifically in metabolic health and physiology as well. So I've always really wanted to get into hormonal health, thyroid health, things like that. So what I would like to specialize in is actually endocrinology, which is a specialty in essentially metabolic disorders and all of that as a physician.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But when COVID hit, it was really, really hard. I think it hit the music business ridiculously hard. And at that point, I had also taken time off because my dad was really sick. So I wanted to be with him. And it was kind of the perfect time. It was like, okay, well, I'm not doing anything right now. And I have this opportunity to do online classes. And I was like, I've always wanted to do this. And I can look back in 2 years and be like, oh, damn, I wish I would have done that. And then I thought, well, if I just do it, then I'm not going to think about that in 2 years from now. I'll have it done. So yeah. And then it's just been moving, going on and doing this. And then it was really funny because at that same time, after I had signed up for classes, that's when I actually got the contract for the video game. And I was like, whoa, I had already been like, no, it's okay. I'll put music on the side for a bit. And then that came in. And it was just I don't even know. So so that's what I've been up to anyway.
Cool.
That's awesome. Well, good for you. That takes enormous amount of strength to set aside, your music, especially because the state of the world, and to be Hellside is not an easy one to just be like, I'm just going to pick this up the next couple of years and just, see what happens. So good for you. That's awesome. Congratulations on doing that.
Yeah.
It is.
Dee, what about yourself? What's new? What's been going on?
Nothing.
Cool. Good talk.
See, I have been rewatching a lot of cartoons.
Mm-hmm. Like what?
The Marvelous Adventures of Flapjack.
Okay.
And then I started watching this really weird cartoon called Pickle and Peanut. It's
what?
hilarious. Okay, don't judge me. I also just bought the Secret of Mana like special edition pack.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like on sale on Switch for like $20. So I'm gonna like play all of those at some point.
Nice.
And just been kind of like correlating things like with my job and like living life.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I wish I could be more excited, but nothing like really exciting has happened. Just staying afloat.
Just pickles and bears.
Pickle and Peanut.
No, I like my title better.
Your title is terrible. It's Pickle and Peanut. It's like two things of food. It's like pickles and peanuts. Don't ruin it, Matt. No, shut up. All right, Matt, what have you been up to other than annoying me?
Well, that's so kind of you to ask. Well, I had COVID. That shit sucked.
Yeah.
Still on the mend, but I got to play a bunch of games when I had the energy to. So it's funny enough, Lou, I've been obsessed with Elden Ring. I am not a FromSoft player. Anybody that listens to the show knows that I fucking like hate played Demon Souls last year because of a bet.
Oh my God. Have you ever done any of the... You lost a bunch of bets. I'm sorry, this is a tangent.
Yes!
Have you ever...
I played Katamari on stream with Darren.
No, I feel like you lost other bets and there were things that you were supposed to do.
Listen, it's not on me to remember all the bets I've lost. I've owned up to at least a couple of them.
Right after this. Go ahead with your day. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay,
what were you going to do? What are you going to do? No, I'm not going to forget. I'm writing it down. I'm writing it down.
No, you're going to forget. That's fake writing. That's fake writing.
No,
that
not.
pen doesn't
I'm
even have anything.
literally writing message Darren.
I can't say anything. No.
Oh
Anyways.
my God.
So I put a bunch of time into Elden Ring. I put like 30 hours in over the course of a week. And like I started as a samurai, played an hour, and then very quickly turned around and went to an astrologer because I'm a giant bitch baby when it comes to that game, and I just want to throw magic from far away from a safe distance. So that's what I've been doing. I'm getting, I think, towards the later parts of the game. Really enjoying it. I think the open world really changes things up and lets people kind of play at their own pace. One of the biggest things that bothered me about FromSoft games is just something like if you get stuck on a boss, you're just sitting there smacking your head against the wall for hours on end. This kind of gives you that freedom to be like, no, never mind. I'm going to go do something else and come back when I'm more leveled up. So I've really been enjoying it. Played a bunch of Gran Turismo 7 as well. Shout out to PlayStation for sending that code over. Really, I'm not a racing guy, but I really appreciate that game for what it is. It's very it's much more of like a relaxing racing experience compared to something like Forza. So I've been enjoying that as well. And we're going to have a whole bunch of reviews and a whole bunch of other stuff coming up on the site on YouTube over the next couple of weeks. So please be excited for all of that.
Yeah,
now, I'm just trying to play off the fact that I just choked.
Okay.
So we're not going to bring it up.
I don't know why you decided to clear your throat right there, but okay.
Well, it's, yeah. I'm just blaming everything on COVID right now just because I can. I have a COVID pass, so deal with it. Anyways, now moving on.
Pass?
Yeah.
Oh my God, okay.
Ariana, where I wanted to start with you in this main interview section where we're going to be talking to you and about your creative process and all the fantastic work that you've done is how did you get involved with Horizon Forbidden West? Like, I want to start there to kind of kick off the conversation. What kind of brought you to it? Are you big with video games? Were you like, oh my God, yes, I really want to do this? You kind of mentioned it's a little bit outside of your wheelhouse. How did that all come together? What were you feeling?
So when I was younger, I was like a hardcore Nintendo player. Like that was my thing, right? I loved Nintendo. I played all of I loved Aladdin. I loved like Sonic. I loved all the race. DuckTales, man.
I love that you played Aladdin. DuckTales, yes!
Oh
my God.
And I spent so much time doing that. And then when I got serious about music, I was like, okay, I can't play video games anymore because I will not be good music if I keep playing video games as much as I'm playing them. And my sister Briar ended up buying a PlayStation. And I was like, nope, I will not touch that thing. And she would play it, and I was like, damn, like I want to play Tomb Raider with her so bad. And I would like try to not.
I remember in Tomb
So
Raider.
I have been actually like, I have taken a big step away from video games. Specifically for that reason, because I'm like, I'm the type of person like, if I start, I will literally be the person who is up like for 22 hours playing the game straight and like not even like take a bathroom break. Like it's not good. Like so so with the game, I got an email from a previous manager of mine saying, okay, I'm working on this really cool project and it's for a video game and they're looking for a female vocalist for it. And I was like, okay, well, this is cool. And in the past, I've tried to submit my music for lots of these types of things, not specifically video games, but just placement for any type of like Netflix series or like whatever, TVO. Lots of different things happen all the time, and you submit your stuff, and most of the time you never hear anything back. So I was like, okay, well, sure, why not? Like, go ahead, fine. But I was totally not expecting anything from it based on my previous track record with these things. And so what was happening was it was kind of like I want to say bidding war, but it's not. It was like me up against lots of other artists. And I didn't really know anything. They wouldn't tell me anything about the game. They didn't tell me anything because it was super like top secret, wasn't allowed to say anything. And so it ended up, I sent over my tracks and they really, really liked my style. And I think it was because Guerrilla Games is a very cool indie type of organization. They specifically could have chosen the Sony artists because they're working with Sony as well, of course. But they didn't want that because they're a very tight-knit group and they wanted something a lot different than that. So that was, I think, like, that was already really awesome. That was a cool part of their process, was just trying to find artists who are like more independent and not mainstream. So that I think probably worked in my favor a little bit because I had never gone that route with my music. So anyway, they listened to my tracks and they really loved it. And then I got the call basically, and they were like, "Okay, yeah, they've chosen you, and they want you to do it." And I was like, "What? Okay.
That's so exciting!
That's so cool, yeah."
Oh my god!
And then I had to sign an NDA, and I couldn't say anything for 2 years.
Was it that long?
Yes, it was a very
wow.
Yeah. So it was a very long process, and I think it was long because of COVID, because they had originally had like prior release dates, and they had to keep pushing them forward, and it just like originally they had said, okay, it's going to be about a year, maybe a year and a half, and then it got pushed all the way to February 2022, right? So it was a big thing. So we worked on 2 songs specifically, and then I sang some like kind of oohs and ahs on the 3rd song that will be, I think, released on the 25th of March, because they're releasing the final soundtrack then. But it was a really, really cool process, and that was kind of how I got into it. It was totally like super random email, random connection, and then it just happened, and it was super cool. So
how did you feel like when you got that call and you got that email? Like what was that moment like for you? Because I know you weren't expecting it. So.
I think I was more just in shock. Obviously I was super excited too, because like to be able to work on something like, and then find out what game it was, and then find out the scale of the game, because I'm disconnected from that world because I've tried to be disconnected from it. But then as soon as I found out, I was like, what? Really? This is the game? This is so cool. And I was really, really excited about it. And I couldn't wait to start working with the musicians and artists because, again, totally different process. I didn't really know what to expect because they were like, okay, we want a vocalist, but we might also want some writing and some of those types of things. So I was just waiting basically to start working on it with everyone. And it took a little bit of time to kind of get things rolling. But then once they started sending over the soundtracks and giving me the vision and everything, that's how we started to move along with it. So, yeah.
I love that you're able to like that they didn't use someone from Sony,
Yeah.
you know, like
Mhm.
a huge name, because I get so tired of it. I feel like that way with movies. I get tired of seeing the same four Chris's and everything. You know what I mean? So like I love that like they're expanding and they are picking like new talent, right? Because your song is beautiful. It's absolutely
Thank
Mhm.
you.
beautiful
Yeah.
and it fits the vibe of the whole game, and the game itself is incredible. It's got such huge raves. Like
Oh yeah.
I hope that like this opens up doors for you, even though I know that you're going into medical. Like I want to keep up with you to see like what's she gonna sing on next,
Yeah.
you know, because it was kind of like that for Kingdom Hearts. Like nobody really knew who it was. It Utada Hikari, I think it was, who sang the song.
Hitada.
Utada, who I'm saying
I'll
it
double check. I'll
wrong,
fact check
and I'm
myself. Go
really
ahead.
sorry. It's a Japanese name, and I don't speak Japanese. I'm really, really sorry. But
Hikaru
like,
Utada.
yeah, like she
Hmm.
was famous in Japan, but like that kind of made her like
Right.
world
Yeah.
famous. So like, oh my
Yeah, for sure. And
gosh,
that's kind
I'm
of it,
excited
right?
for
Like you
you.
never really know, because the connection that I had was from years previous. And this is what I've always kind of found with the music business is you never know what's going to happen years later. And it does happen years later. Like you're always building these connections and you're like, "Oh, I hope something happens right now." But in reality, that's
Right.
not the
Mhm.
case. And what happens is like 7 years later or 5 years later, that person that you made a connection with remembers you and thinks about you for this one thing, and then they reach out and you're like, "Oh, okay, cool. I thought that this person like didn't care, or was gone or whatever, or doing
Right.
something else with their
Mhm.
life, and they're not even in the music business anymore," because that's what does happen as well. And then and that's how things basically in my whole career have actually ended up happening and evolving. Is it's like I get this random email one day and it totally completely catches me by surprise, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool. Sure, let's do it." Okay.
Right.
That's awesome.
So, okay, so you signed the
Yeah.
NDA. What you had sent them, were there demos of your music?
Yeah, so they were looking for,
Like,
so they originally had the song. So Lavisa had written it, and they wanted a vocalist who could go a little bit more theatrical with it, because her style is more of like this like indie kind of, I almost want to say Celtic, but it's not quite Celtic. But if you listen to her version, it's a lot more subdued. So they wanted, because the
Mhm.
game is so big and because they had this vision for the opening theme, they wanted an artist who could like use their voice as an instrument and really be able to open it up and kind of like go in all of these different directions. And so what I
Absolutely.
ended up doing was sending a lot of different tracks, just kind of showcasing like what I can do. So if you want me to be subdued, I can be subdued and do like falsetto. If you want me to be really loud and theatrical, I have this song and I'll show you this song. So they were able to kind of get my range, vocal range and performance range. And I think that they actually liked a lot of my real like live performance videos, I think, more than just like listening to my tracks, because they could get a picture of
mhm,
how I connected to the music. It wasn't just like, oh, we're listening to someone recording and we don't know what it sounds like live. It was I think they really cared
yeah.
about like the live component of it, which was really cool and refreshing for sure, because that's not always the case.
I think that's important because then it's just like it's not all auto-tuned or it's not all
Yeah.
like, you know, messed with in the studio, and they actually get to hear your beautiful like true voice
Yeah,
out there. So
exactly.
yeah, I can see why that would be
Yeah.
important. Yeah.
So you okay, so you sign the
Yeah.
NDA, you get the call and all that. Where and when did you record your vocal takes?
So I actually ended up recording my vocal takes at my dad's studio. He has a really awesome setup. He's been like building it now over the past like 12 years, ever since I started. So we were able to do all of the tracks just at my dad's studio, which was super cool. And he engineered it. And then he
Wow.
was able to just send them over to Alexa, who I was working with from British Columbia. And then Alexa would put them in with the music. And Alexa was actually coordinating lots of musicians all over the world, like lots of cello players, violinists, and it was actually insane. I still don't know like the entire scope of the project, because Alexa would just give me like little hints, and he'd be like, "Okay, I have time like at this little thing and at this day, and we can probably go in here," and then he'd have to go, and then I was just like, in my head, I was like, he is probably coordinating so
Wow.
many people right now, and I can't even imagine like how exhausted he is. And he did such a fantastic job. Like his arrangements, and it's just beautiful. Everything is just beautiful. I think like the whole soundtrack for the whole video game is just, it's really top notch. I'm really, really, really grateful that I got to work with so many amazing artists and musicians. Like that was just the cherry on top. Was just everyone was so good at what they did, and you could tell, and it really showed. Like when he showed me the final track that I had to sing to, I was like, wow, this is like, this is different than like the little like guitar MIDI track that you sent me. Like, real shit, this is good. So, and of course, like being, when you're singing and in it, like you need all of that stuff because it gives you that whole world, and you can really fall into it and think about it and project your voice where it needs to go, or bring your voice into like this like small space and be present. And so they did a really great job with that for sure.
That's so cool. I know that you mentioned earlier that like it was a bit of a different process for you, having to like step into the shoes of someone else, like, you know, when you're singing this compared to you writing your own music. What was the process like in terms of like for yourself just embodying somebody else versus when you work on your own music?
So I find like it's funny because of course everything has its own challenges, right? But I actually really enjoyed this more, and it's probably only more because I needed a break from my own music, because I've been doing it for so long, and so it was really nice to kind of take on this different persona. But at the same time, it can also be really frustrating because in these types of situations, there's a lot of moving parts and there's a lot of ideas coming from many different people. And so they have an idea of how something needs to sound or how they want things to sound. And then it's up to me to try and interpret what they're saying and give them that sound. So if they're talking about like Aloy trying to, you know, she's feeling vulnerable, for example, feeling super vulnerable, but she's also super strong. And you're like, okay, well, that's
what?
Like, how does that translate to music, right?
What you want it to sound like, exactly.
Strong but vulnerable, but strong.
Exactly. But she has this support system and they're all there, but she doesn't know that they're there. But this is, and like it was like there was a lot of stuff like that where I was like, I had to like really think about it. So Alexa would like send me the notes from the team, and then I would have to, and we would discuss them, him and I would go, okay, so like this is what they want, but like I can't sing these two things at the same time, right? Can we like figure out like a way where we can like incorporate them together? And then that's exactly what we did. And so we would work line by line, and we would actually, before we went into the studio, I would end up doing a whole bunch of different versions just in my crappy iPhone, like a voice memo. And I would send it to them, and then they could hear all of these different things that Alexa and I were working on, and then go, okay, yeah, we love this. So sing this line this way, and then this line this way, and then actually just move this note to this note. So there was lots of like little changes all the time, which was super interesting. And I actually loved it. I thought it was super fun because I didn't have any say, basically, which was really great. Like it was like, no, we want it this way. I was like, okay, sure, I'll do it that way. And it didn't matter, like it, because I was like, I'm just so excited to be here, and I am so lucky to be here that just whatever you need, I'm your girl. Like just tell me what you need. And it turned out really fantastic. And so it was just such a positive experience, I think, for everybody, that we ended up always like tracking everything pretty quickly, because I think everyone was just so happy and so psyched to be there, basically.
Yeah,
that's a good experience to have. Yeah,
that's awesome. Musically speaking, some of my biggest musical heroes are session players, people who come into the gig, lay down a track. Those are the real pros, right? Those are your fit. I said in the last episode, I think, or the episode I was on, it's your favorite musician's favorite musician is some session player that they know, right? Sure. So it sounds like that's very similar to what you did, right? They sort of had this idea, and you came in and you were the hired gun, and you sort of knocked it out of the park. So that's very, very cool.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and that's just it, right? Like there's a difference between being able, which of course I'm sure went into why they decided to pick who they're deciding to pick, right? But there's a difference between performing in a studio versus like tracking an album, because like lots of edits and things can happen in an album, and not a lot of things can change when you're trying to perform something live and nail it. You have to be able to be quick and listen to the feedback and immediately change and be able to nail it the next time. And throughout my experience, throughout my career, I've been able to work on those skills so that when I do go in the studio, it's like, okay, I'm focused, I'm going to do it, and then we get it done really quickly. But it's not an easy skill to hone. You have to like continuously do it and make lots of mistakes and be really slow in the beginning and really shitty in the beginning, and then you're able to like get way better and way faster at it, which is really cool. And then that's obviously appreciated on the other end, because they like, time is money for them, right? Like they need to get stuff done, need to get it done. And it's really important for them to like not have like a 10-hour studio session when you're trying to do one song, right? You need to get stuff done. So, because everyone's relying on you to do that. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say, when I heard the song, I'm sorry, Matt, I didn't mean to cut you off, but like when I first heard it, I wanted to know how you felt about this. I almost feel like, you know, like when you see a bunch of Disney movies and the characters are singing, and usually, I don't know if they still do this, but the person who's voicing the character is different than the person who's singing it. Did you feel like you were embodying the main character as you were singing the song? Because I definitely felt like in the intro that I saw, I was like, oh, this is like her singing voice as she's like running through the fields and stuff.
That's exactly what we wanted. Yes, that is exactly what I was thinking of. And that's what they wanted me to think of too, right? So when they're sending me these notes, like this is what Aloy's thinking, or this is what Aloy's feeling, I have to connect to Aloy and figure out, okay, what, like, sometimes they would say something and I would go, okay, but maybe she's not actually feeling this. Maybe she's feeling this instead, because if I was in her shoes, I would probably, like, as an empowered female who's like doing my own thing out in the world, like these are the feelings that I would feel in this situation. And then a lot of times, like I would say those things and Alexa and I would talk about them, and then we would report it in that way. And then they would go, yes, that's actually what we wanted, but we couldn't, because it's really, really hard to articulate.
We couldn't convey it, right?
Really hard. Like it's so difficult to say what you want to say and then get an artist to sing it or perform it the way you want, because the artist needs to be able to connect to it in their own way in order to make it honest. And
Absolutely.
so when I was doing it, if I was thinking like, okay, what would I feel? And if I'm Aloy, how would I feel it in this way? And then sing it, usually it didn't, like it just was perfect. Like it worked out. But if I overthought it and was thinking about all of this information, it would never work. And I wouldn't be able to get it done. And they would go, no, but we don't really want it like that. We really kind of want it like this. And so that's where it can kind of get a little bit like hairy in the studio, is like, everyone knows what it's supposed to sound like when they hear it, but trying to like actually figure it out is the hardest part.
Yeah.
So it's more so like just like getting into your zone as an artist and doing what you know that you can do best, and then seeing where that takes you. So, and then going, okay, then like, okay, yeah, that was perfect here. Maybe this just needs to be altered here. And that's how it works. And it's like it's a way better process that way than trying to like, check all the boxes essentially.
Right. It's great that you were able to use like your women's intuition as you were connecting to this character, because that's what it sounds like, like how would I feel in this moment? And you really are her, like you're her singing voice in this. And that blows my mind, because at first I was like, oh, okay, like she did the music for it. And then I was listening to it and I was like, oh my God, like, no, that she's the character, like that's her singing. So that's like such a cool thing to have realized after talking to you and like your whole process and the way you connect.
Well, it was cool too, because I'm a really huge rock climber, so like that's what I love to do. So seeing Aloy in this like super cool strong role where she's like fighting all of these machines and like basically saving the world, right? Like, and super athletic and super badass. I was like, oh man, she's so cool. Like I want to be her.
That's so interesting, especially because it's like, like you mentioned, like you didn't really know what it was at first, and as you kind of got along further in the process to kind of realize the character that you were kind of portraying or embodying. Did you go back and like watch like a synopsis of like the first game to kind of get a feel for her? And
I did a lot of research when I finally figured out the game. And then the cool part was too, Alexa and the game developers would actually send me like just like the rough version of exactly what they were going to be doing, so what I was singing to in the game, to kind of show me where the phrasing needed to be. So that was really cool too, because I could picture like, okay, so she's doing this thing right now and we're in this world and we're in this scene and I need to do like throw my voice this way, or be like a little bit softer, or be a little bit stronger, and it all made sense. Like, it was really, really cool.
So dope.
Yeah.
Like,
Seriously.
behind the scenes of it, like, because I never think about that. Like, I always think like, oh, they sung the song in a studio and then they overlaid it over the game. But like, no, there's like a lot more that goes into it. It's incredible to hear like how detailed all of that is.
There was a lot of conversation, which is why it takes so long, right? Because then you record it and you think you're done, but then you're not done, because then they maybe like sync it up to what they want everything to be visually, and they're like, no, actually it doesn't fit this way anymore, so now we need to go back and fix it, because this is actually what we need in this section. So that's why it can take like a year to 2 years to get something like this done, is because there's so many moving parts and everyone is doing their part so well, but it all needs to come together and be cohesive at the end. And that's really what these game developers are looking at. They're looking at the bigger picture, and you're only a small little part of that picture. And sometimes it's difficult to understand all of those moving parts, but when it all comes together, it's really intricate. Magical. It's super cool.
Yeah, especially with like game development specifically, and how much things can change. Like, they could have massive plans like laid out and then things change, right? Like, so I can only imagine what that process would have been like. Like you said, you think you're done, but then if something changes, you know, along the development process, if a scene is now different from what it was originally, I can imagine that would change the way that you have to sing in that certain scene. So even just that, like the back and forth. And I loved hearing that they were open to hearing about how you thought that certain section would sound given your own experiences, because it's so important, I imagine, to kind of bring that to the role. So you absolutely fucking demolished it. Like, it's incredible. Like, that song is beautiful. It's so such a great way to start the game, and just it fits the entire narrative. So kudos to you, because that's incredible.
Thank you. Yeah, it was super cool. It was really special when I actually got to see, because I of course was still kept in the dark. I wasn't allowed to see or say anything.
Right.
So when I actually got to see the opening credits, I was like, oh my god, this is so
That's awesome.
Oh my god, that's so exciting.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the challenges you were describing about the emotion, or the say an evaluation someone makes of a sound, is I think something a lot of musicians deal with and encounter, and no doubt you've encountered it with your own music as well, because I find when we're talking about music, it's so hard not to speak in metaphor, right? Describing a sound as buttery or smooth or sharp or something like that, right? Unless you're speaking in literal music terms like piano, fortissimo, or you're talking about music theory, everything else is an evaluation using metaphor. Sure. And when you have different people evaluating it in different ways, or they have a different idea of what buttery means in their head or something like that, it can get challenging. Yeah. So that's definitely totally makes sense, and something I'm sure a lot of musicians can identify with.
For sure. It's actually
now I want to know what buttery means.
It's an interesting concept, like, but it is like stuff does get like said in different ways, right? And everyone has their own interpretation of language, and that's really where it gets confusing, is like everyone is gonna say things differently and think about things differently, and it's words are not sounds. Like, it's just like you use sounds to form words, but words cannot sometimes explain exactly like the sounds that you want to convey. And so that's where it can get really difficult for sure in those situations. And I actually found the most difficult track that I did for the video game was actually the oohs and ahs, because I was like, I have no idea what you want right now. I don't know what I'm doing. I have no, like, I was just like, I felt like I was like a green artist, and I didn't know how to even use my voice. And then again, but it was the same kind of process. Like, as soon as I stopped like thinking about all of the words to describe what I needed to do, and I just did it and felt it, then it was like, yes, that's what we wanted. I was like, oh!
It's so funny, because like I just had flashbacks to like last year when we were coming up on our 100th episode, and we were doing this whole redesign, and like we were talking about, okay, what do we want the logo to look? What do we want things to look like? And Destiny is like an incredibly talented artist. So she was like, what do you want from it? I'm like, I want it to look cool, but kind of like this, but kind of like that. And she's like, what the fuck does any of that mean? And I'm just like, I'm so bad at describing what I have in my head. She's like, just send me some examples of what the hell you're talking about. And again, it's just that creative process, because I can completely understand with somebody being like, what? What do you mean?
Yeah. And I'm so sorry I laughed so hard at the buttery thing because I really like my ADHD kicked in. I was just like, buttery? Was that like smooth?
Exactly.
Like, and then I saw
right?
that
Buttery,
laughing,
is it
and
like
I just couldn't. Yeah, buttery smooth. That's what I think
Right.
of.
right, buttery
I
smooth,
want
or
your
is it
voice to sound
warm
like
and is it like subdued? Is it what is it?
Yeah, rich.
What
Okay,
could it
yeah,
be?
rich is a good one too. See, rich, I think deep and smooth, like Barry White.
See, it's all metaphor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Barry White, absolutely, yeah.
That's
It's hard not to use metaphors talking about sound.
It really is hard because I do it all the time too. I'm like this, and you know what I've actually found with like recording over the years is I actually don't know what I want ever, even when I'm recording my own stuff. But I know what I don't want, and so like,
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
more about like no, and then someone does something. I'm like, yes, that's what I want.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like I can't.
I've definitely
verbalize
worked with people like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, for like
Yeah.
graphic art, they're like they can't tell you what they want, but they can tell you everything that's wrong with the
Exactly.
project.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, but like what do you want? I don't know, just kind of like pizzazzy, like that wow factor, and you're like you're just using adjectives. I don't know.
There's still no direction.
that
I
into
don't
art.
know where this is going. So.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or maybe the best one is I want it to pop.
Yeah.
Matt said that. Matt said that when we were
Probably.
doing.
Yeah.
He was like,
I'm not. I listen. Destiny knows I am an incredible artist, but like talking about art is just very difficult for me.
Yep.
Okay,
Oh my
so,
God.
like, that's
I'm thinking about now when we asked who did the music for our intro? Mick, when we were trying to describe what we wanted, and we were like this is the logo, so we wanted to kind of be kind of hip hop, you know what I mean? And he came back with like some rap beat with guns going off, and we were like, no,
too far.
We don't want gangster.
Yeah.
And it was so funny because then he actually made a video being like, I made music for a podcast, and this is what the process was like. So like we were sitting over here, be like, what the fuck was he thinking? And then his video was like, what the hell were they thinking? So it was just like funny, like back and forth.
It was
so
great.
yeah, that's so awesome. Then so it's like I know you're on your health side path. You're working towards that side, but would you want to continue to work in the video game industry on music in this respect? And like obviously I'm not trying to get you to break any NDAs or any projects that you might not be able to talk about, but is this something that you would like to continue to do?
Definitely. And like obviously like every connection like we had talked about before can move to something else, right? And there's always the future for more work and things like that. And I think that this process specifically, like I enjoyed it so much because I was still able to be in school. I was still able to do the stuff I loved, but then I was able to like identify with this other really amazing part of music that I've never really been able to explore. And that was really exciting for me. And it was way more fun at this point in my life anyway than trying to make an album where it's like all my own songs and I'm super picky about everything.
Right.
And I'm in control and I need to do, like, it was really nice to give up the control and just be the person to work on something or collaborate with people on and not be like the leader, because I find being the leader can be exhausting, like really exhausting, because you're like micromanaging all of these little things. And so in that sense, like working on stuff and collaborating with people like in this type of world, that's 100% what I would love to be doing, like on the side. Or I mean, who knows what will happen, right? Like if other people work with me later for other things, but like definitely this was super cool. And of course, like I would 100% want to do, if they wanted to do another game, or if another game company had contacted me to do something, I would probably say yes in a heartbeat, because it was just such a cool experience.
So I have a question. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I cut you off again. My question is, are you going to play the game?
You know what? I have a game code, and we have been debating to get a PlayStation or not.
You gotta play
the game, but I can't yet, so I have to write the MCAT first, and then I will get.
That's fair. That's
okay,
fair.
I got it. Yeah. I understand.
I'm gonna rock up to the MCAT and be like, listen,
game, I know nothing about physics.
Yeah.
This isn't good.
Yeah, I was up fighting robot dinosaurs all night. Can I do this like tomorrow? MCAT people, please. Would you? You have to understand.
Hey, do you mind just bumping up my mark a little bit? Like I was doing this.
Do you know who I am? I sang Aloy.
I sang for this really important video game. Like,
Well, it's wild that like your first game is going to be a game of the year contender, right? Like this is going to be
Yeah.
some people's favorite game,
cool.
right? Like it's already selling millions and millions of copies. It's a game that like a lot of people were looking forward to, and a lot of people
Beautiful.
identify with Aloy as a character. So it's wild that, you know, your first game out the gate is one that will be talked about as one of the greatest of this year, if not this
It's like a
generation already.
blockbuster.
It's super
You
cool.
basically,
100%.
yeah, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
That's so
And it was
cool.
super neat too, like when I was watching and doing all my research about the first one, like just seeing like
Mhm.
the storyline, because I was obviously privy to all of that information. So like seeing where it had gone and like all of the design and how everything looked and where they were, like it was just like, whoa, like they like really upped it. Like I was like, this is cool.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I'm excited to see where this
Yeah.
goes, just because it's like such an amazing work of art. Like they really worked hard on it, and it shows. It's so cool.
I will praise the black characters in that game till the day I
Yep.
die, because they
Mhm.
look incredible.
Yeah.
Like I have not seen a game where they just look so authentic.
Mhm.
Like, oh my god, you could see the pores on their
I
skin and like
know.
the hyperpigmentation, and like I hate hyperpigmentation because like it's a horrible thing that black people have to deal with. But it was incredible that like they had the foresight to think about that and put that into, and the hair textures, guys. I know I'm like going off
But
on
it
a
is.
tangent,
It's
but
all
it
of
was,
that, like those little
it's
things.
incredible.
It's those little things,
Yes.
because even some of the scripts were like, they were so culturally relevant too. And I was like, what they're talking
Yes.
about right now is like so sensitive to the times and so perfect for the times. And like, it felt like they were just
Mhm.
doing everything right. Like, I was like, they're so aware of the world right now. And it's
Absolutely.
like so
They did their
inclusive.
research.
Like, everything's so inclusive, and I loved it. So yeah, it was super cool to see that for sure, because not all game companies are like that, which is why I love working
No.
with Guerrilla. Like I feel like they really care about all of those little things, because of the type
Mhm.
of company that they are. Like that's just, they want to focus on all that stuff. They want to focus on like the smaller things that people aren't bringing attention to, and make those things bigger, so that everyone's aware of them. It's a very cool company to be involved with for sure.
So cool. I know I'm already going to start campaigning. Jeff Keighley, if you ever listen to this, you know, the master of the Game Awards.
Yes.
They have musical segments every year, and like Horizon being one of the biggest games of the year, I'm going to start like a Ariana on Game Awards
We're definitely
hashtag
gonna like
campaign.
hashtag it. Yes.
Because like Keighley, fucking do it. Don't be a coward. Put Ariana on stage, because I would love to see that. Like
We
that,
didn't mean
hearing
that,
that song.
Keely. We're not trying
Yeah.
to burn bridges here. We would really like it if you did that. Matt,
No, good cop, bad cop.
okay.
Fucking Keighley, do it.
Please do it. All right, good.
But yeah, is that something you'd ever be open to, doing that
Oh yeah, for
live?
sure. That'd be so sick.
Oh.
She's sitting there, she's like, how do they know? I'm not supposed to talk about this yet.
I only signed one NDA.
No, but they really might ask you, because it's like
Legit.
It's such a big game right now. Like, yo,
Mhm.
listen, if they do, I'm gonna be so excited. Me and Matt are gonna be like in the studio. Not really, but we're gonna wish that we were in the studio.
Yeah.
Well, that was
Look, I know
cool,
her.
for sure.
I know her.
Yeah.
Maybe Jeff will hook us up with some tickets.
Yeah, that would be the best.
Maybe.
Maybe I
Jeff,
can just
please
hook you
hook us up with some
How
tickets.
about that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's great.
Oh my God. Networking. I'm loving this. And can I just say, like, I'm super excited that we were able to get you on, especially during this month, since it's like Women's Month, and we're like focusing on like women and empowering women, and the game that we're focusing on and talking about is about a really strong female character. And and you, and listen, the fact that you like decided to step away from music for a little bit and go into like the medical field, like these are all absolutely incredible things. And I'm sure people have told you that, but like, please believe that like I am super fucking impressed. Like, because I know how hard it is to give up on something that you really love, or something that you've been doing for such a long time, and step into a completely different field. Like, I get that. So like, congratulations on doing Horizon, because that's fucking phenomenal, and congratulations on following your other dreams and getting into the medical field. Like, that's really inspiring, and I hope a lot of our listeners who are listening today girl power, like all day, every day, you know? So.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, like, that's the great thing about like this month, or just celebrating women, is like being able to work together with women instead of be in competition with women. Because I feel like for a long, long,
Yes.
long time, it was ingrained into me that like it's like you have to be the better woman, or you're always up against someone else. And I think climbing actually really taught me how like that is not a thing at all, and we need to support each other, because everyone has their own thing that they're doing, and they're going to be really fucking good at it if they get that support. And so having other women
Right.
empower them is really, really important. And it really saddens me when I still see that competition. I kind of want to go like, stop, what are you doing here, girl?
Right? Stop gatekeeping, you know, because we all have our weaknesses and our strengths, right? And I think if like we work together, like we would just be better. Like society would just be better in general if they didn't instill that competitive mindset into us, even as kids.
Yeah,
do you know what I'm saying?
sure.
Like, so I love that you brought that up. Like, absolutely. Like, we need to like work together. Like you said, you might try to get us tickets. That's working together. You know what I'm saying?
Way to swing that around. Way to swing that around, Destiny. I'm so proud of you. Hell, wow, that was incredible.
Closing the loop on that one. I love it.
100%. Before we kind of round out the discussion with talking about something that's important to you, Dee, Lou, is there any questions? Because I know we prepped a bunch more. Are there any questions we wanted to squeak out here before we kind of head towards the finale?
Lou had a really good question, but you know what? I am going to save some of these questions for next time, because we definitely want you to come back to the show.
For sure, yeah.
So I'm going to save mine for next time, and I'm just going to put that. Let's note that. Put a pin in it.
Sounds good.
Because it's going to happen.
I can fire off a couple more questions here that I prepared in anticipation of speaking today. So if you could collaborate with any artist on the planet, who would it be?
It would be Bon Iver, for sure.
Nice.
Yeah. I love his stuff. I think he's just so out of the box creative. Like, he has worked on so many projects, and all of them I appreciate. And there's a lot of them that are just like so weird, and I'm like, this is so weird, but this is so cool. Like, he really thinks in a different dimension, and that would be really fun to just learn from him. Like, the artists that I would want to collaborate are artists that are totally not in the same field as me, where I could be like just soaking up all that information and going, okay, what's your, like, I want to watch your process. I don't even need to ask you questions. I just want to learn and watch you like do your thing. That's the cool part for me, is just learning from people like that. But for sure, like, I'm a huge fan of his work, all of his work, and that would be a super cool collab for sure.
Love it.
Awesome. Yeah, he's great. Absolutely. Speaking of process, so creating music, the process is everything, and it's such a sacred thing for musicians. So for your own music, when you're making your own tunes, how does the process start? The creative process, does it start with a guitar, or just a melody in your head, or something like that?
I think it all depends. Like, I've had times when lyrics have come to me first. I've had times when a melody comes to me first. I've had times where a melody and lyrics just like come together and everything's like fitting. I think like the songs that I'm the most proud of, though, are the ones where I feel like they just kind of flowed through me, and I didn't have any say. Like, it was like I just caught it. Like, it was like floating around in the cosmos, and I caught this like creative little star or something, and then I grabbed onto it for like 3 minutes, enough for a song, and then song came out. And then I'll wake up the next morning and I'll like look at it and I'm like, what? How did I write this?
Yeah.
I can write this on my best day. Like, what is this? And like, so it's a really interesting thing, because whenever I've actually tried to write something and like, okay, today it's terrible. The song is terrible. I can't, like, it's not good, and I'll just throw it out. So I stopped doing that. And it's more of just like that inspiration thing where you like, there's something building up in you and you can feel it. And then I would grab a guitar or like sit down at the piano or something, and then it just comes out, and I have that for a second, and then those are really magical moments, and those are usually the best material that I write is in those moments, which is super cool. So process for me is more of just like kind of feeling than thinking. I think if you think, you're not gonna do a good job. But if you feel, you can't go wrong with feeling, for sure, when it's art, for sure.
I could not agree more. In a previous episode of the podcast, I mentioned that the best feeling with music making is when it's effortless. It feels like you've discovered something that was always there, and it's this primal thing, and then you've just sort of unearthed it or allowed it to come to light. And that's exactly, I could not agree more with what you said. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's what's that movie with is it Crazy Heart with Jeff Bridges?
Oh my God, I love Jeff Bridges.
I think I might be wrong.
I do. I love
years ago, but he has this line in it, and he says something like, like they're listening to a song, and another guy says, "Oh, I've that song's like I've heard that song before," and he says, "No, that's an original song, but the best songs are the ones you think you've heard before." And it's kind of that thing, right, where it's that feeling where that you've done something, or there's something there, and it just feels good, like it feels natural. And it's the same thing with like a lot of like hit songs that you hear on the radio, like even the song I mean there's tons, but like the ones that are timeless, right, like Iris, for example, like that song sounds just so comfortable when you're hearing it, and it's not a copycat of anything else, but it feels like you've already heard it while you're listening to it.
It's a good song.
Like, and it's never like it's always going to be a good song. It's always going to evoke that same like, wow, that just sits right. And it's interesting. There's a lot of really great songs.
That's how I feel about Marvin Gaye's "Let's Get It
On." There's a ton of songs like that.
I know you're laughing, but like seriously, it's such a vibe.
I get it.
Like you could be a virgin and you immediately think of sex when you hear that song.
Absolutely, yeah. Okay, last question. If you were a song, what song would you be, and why?
Oh no,
I love this question.
Oh no, I don't know. That's so hard.
That's a hard one. Hard.
Marvin Gaye's "Let's Get It On."
That's the one. Oh man, I'm not sure. You know what song I actually really, maybe it's not, I don't know if I'm the song, but it's a song that I actually really identified with for a while because of my climbing, and it's a Coldplay song, and it's called Midnight, and it's like this super different departure from what they've done previously, and it just helped me get into this flow state before climbing, and I was able to send like my hardest project like by listening to it right before, and I would go into this routine where I would listen to the song, rehearse all the moves, and then I would try and do the climb, and then I did that for months, and then eventually like I did it. So I feel like I connect that song with like getting into this like really peaceful, focused spot in my life, and so maybe I that could be my song, but I don't know. It's hard. Like I also have like a laundry list of songs that are absolutely my favorite and I identify with too, but that one sticks out to me for sure because it's attached to an accomplishment that I was really proud of. So
that's
good
a
answer.
good question.
Hell yeah.
I want to turn that question back on you guys because I think that was a really good one. So we'll start with.
I already answered.
No, you can't take that song. Anyways, we'll go with Blue first, so you can think about it. What would be a song that basically sums you up?
Sure. Yeah, that is a tough question, isn't it?
I don't know. Like I felt like I was put on the spot with that one.
I keep thinking of "Move Bitch Get Out the Way" by Ludacris. That does not sum me up, but that's the only song that's popping into my head right now, and I don't know.
But you know what? That does, like, you are very much like the I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do, and if you're gonna stand in my way, move, bitch. Like you do have that energy.
I do. You're right. I do have.
I'm trying to spin this in a positive way.
No. I mean, like I love that song. You know what I'm saying?
I know.
I can't
me too.
drive with it because like I would get a ticket. But no, definitely. Definitely.
Okay, if I was a song, so there's a Beatles song off of Magical Mystery Tour that's called "Flying," and it's basically an instrumental. It's got some oohs and ahs, but yeah, that's just it. The vibe that song gives off is exactly that's what I try to do with my music is give off a vibe. It laid back, carefree. It doesn't mean anything, right? It's just music. It's just beauty for the sake of it. and that's why I love it. And if I had to pick one, it would be that song. Yeah.
Okay,
I love
that was
that.
good. That was good, Matt.
Marvin, no. For me, there's one song that's like, so I'm like a big pop punk guy. I listen to like a lot of like high energy music, but like there's one song called Wooden Heart by a band called Listener. And they're like, it's almost more like spoken word to music, but like that song has stayed with me, and the lyrics and just like the story that song tells. I can listen to that song when I'm feeling like incredibly anxious and incredibly depressed and incredibly low, or I can listen to that song like on my best day. Like there's just, it's a sad song that ultimately ends with just hope. And I just like, for me, that I always go back to that song, more so than any song ever. So like it's that one for me. Wooden Heart by Listener is just a beautifully put together song. What about you, Destiny? Wait, you already said.
I told you, Move Bitch Get Out the Way by Ludacris.
We figured that out.
We have to make a.
It's
we have to
either
make a burnout
that
playlist.
or I Wish I Was a Little Bit Taller by Skilo, because I do wish I was a little bit taller by Skilo, and I wish I was a baller, and I wish I was a shot caller.
You wish you had a girl.
Yeah, and I would call her. Mm-hmm. I could rap that whole song, but we won't do that today. I could rap
the first 4 lines. Not today. Save that for the next time Ariana comes back on. She's gonna be like,
"We'll go."
Okay. Yeah, exactly.
Nobody wants to hear me rap. My voice is too like corny for rap. They'd be like, "Shut up."
You gotta believe in it. It's not corny anymore.
Listen, we have 4. I'm gonna say 2 musicians and 2 people who dabbled in music before. We could put together something special.
We should put together a song,
and you're gonna rap.
So
anyways, moving on. For our last final question, we always like to ask new guests on the show about a game that matters to them. And I know you mentioned that you're not the biggest gamer, which is totally fine. So I'm gonna expand it to like a piece of media, or like a show, or a movie, or even a song, or something that has resonated with you and has been there for you when you may have been going through a tough time, or something that you think is special and deserves to be shouted out. So what is a piece of media that matters to you?
I like the first thing that popped into my head was the movie Good Will Hunting, actually. I have seen that movie so many times. I can watch that probably, I could watch that every single day and just love it, because I love the story. I love everything about it. I love the way that Robin Williams is in it. I love the way that Matt Damon is in it. I love like the hurt that's in it, but then the amazing positivity that comes out of it. It's just this incredible story written by a couple of kids who basically were just starting out in the business, and then now look where they are, right? Like look where Ben Affleck and Matt Damon are, right? And they came up with this such an honest, beautiful thing, and it just transformed their lives. And I think it touched a lot of people, and I'm sure like it touches me every single time. I still like get emotional about it when I'm watching that one scene with Robin Williams when he's telling like Matt Damon, no, it's not your fault. Like none of this is your fault, and this is just your situation. And like I would say like that's a big thing for me. That movie, like I love that movie. I identify with that for sure. That's
fun fact. I've never seen it.
You haven't seen it?
But I've heard. No, I've never seen it. But I have heard of it, and it's really hard for me to watch movies with Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Now, like I was at the doctor's office, and I think it was Night at the Museum, because he's in that, and I started crying. So I'm not ready to watch movies with him in. I know it's been a really long time, but I'm not ready. To watch movies with him in it.
Yeah, I like Patch Adams was like it popped up in the Netflix.
Oh my god!
And I was like, I can't watch. This is sad. I can't do this.
Yeah,
it's not good. Yeah. So, but Good Will Hunting, just the story anyway. Like if anything, like eventually you gotta get into that for sure.
I will. I'll watch it one day.
We'll watch it together, D, because I haven't seen it yet either.
Okay, let's watch it together.
There you go. Well, Ariana, thank you so much for sharing that with us. I always love that question just because we get to learn a little bit more about our guests. And now, to round things out, I just want to say a massive thank you, Ariana. It was an absolute pleasure having you on. I hope you'll join us again in the future to mess around with us some more.
Yeah.
Congratulations on your success. Congratulations on the work that you've done with Forbidden West. It's incredible. Keely, put her on stage at the Game Awards this year. Very much please and thank you. I can't wait to watch you do it. I'm putting it out in the universe and it's going to happen. So I can't wait to see you absolutely crush it live, because it's going to be fantastic.
It's gonna be so dope. Oh my
Right?
God. It's gonna be
Right?
so dope. I'm excited, like, for real, we're gonna go. You know what I mean? Like, we're
Yeah.
going to be there. I'm so excited. I
If
already booked the tickets.
if you
Nice.
need some interpretive dancers behind you while you're singing,
We'll do
Ariana,
it.
Destiny and I will
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
You'll never get invited back,
Oh,
but
no,
we'll do
dress you
it.
up like some machines, like in the, I think like
Oh
over,
my God. I could just be one of the black people in the story.
right? Like it could just be like a theatrical interpretation
Excited.
of.
Oh
Oh
God.
boy.
This is the
ready.
best idea we've ever had. But if people wanted to find out more about you, if people want to check out your music, can you please hit us with your plugs so people know where
For
to
sure. So definitely go to arianagillis.com. You're going to find a lot of stuff there. But if you like streaming, iTunes and Spotify are probably the best bets for you for sure. And if you want to go to my website, you can sign up for a mailing list where like I sometimes send out emails. Probably won't be in a little while because I'm really busy with the MCAT. But yeah, so just for updates and everything like that. And that's kind of it.
Hell yeah, awesome.
And
Well,
we're gonna
thank
have
you.
all that stuff at the bottom.
Yeah, awesome.
So
Mhm.
you guys can check it out.
Lou, what about yourself? Thank you for joining us as one of our very special co-hosts today.
I
Your questions
know.
were absolutely
This is
awesome.
the
It was
first
awesome.
time. This is the
Right?
first time we've had a special co-host. So
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm psyched
we did a
about it.
lot of awesome things today.
Right? You
Yeah.
crushed it, but if people wanted to find more of you, Lou, where would they do that?
Sure, yeah. You can visit my website, madseedling.com. I'm on Spotify. I'm on all the streaming services, Mad Seedling. Instagram, @MadSeedling. I upload new videos every Monday and Wednesday. Yeah, check it out. New album coming
He's on
out very
TikTok.
soon. And I'm on TikTok as well, Mad Seedling. Yep, that's right.
And doing awesome giveaways as well. I know one just ended, but you
Really
said there's going to be more
awesome
coming, so get
giveaways.
stoked.
Yes, big giveaways coming. Yeah.
Booyah! Destiny, what about yourself? Where can people find you?
They can't. I'm going off the grid and you can't find me anywhere.
Well, that's an awkward way of telling me that you're leaving me to do this by myself.
Never. I would never leave you, Matt. You can find me on Twitter at DMBC32. You can find me on Instagram, which has nothing to do with the podcast. It's just me being dumb. You can find me on Facebook being dumb. Yeah, and here.
And what about your webcomic, Destiny?
Actually, Matt, I don't know if you know this, but I put it on hiatus so I could focus on my mental health. So,
But if people wanted to go read all of the incredible ones you've already posted and still support because there's so much good stuff there, where could they find that?
you can find us on Facebook and on Instagram and on Twitter at Pudding and Flan.
Hell yeah. And as for myself, you can find me over on Twitter at burnout_Matt. I also co-host the PlayStation Drive over at Yumi Capri.
And we're also with Level 1 Gaming.
We're also with Level 1 Gaming. Yeah, I was about to say that. You can find our writings and our musings over at lv1gaming.com. So please go do that. Everyone, this has been an absolute pleasure. Ariana, once again, thank you for joining us. Lou, thank you for joining us for the very first time as a special co-host. I'll see you around. Everyone, thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.
No.
Oh, no. Sorry. Yeah, I'm a big old liar. Wait, one more thing.
Yeah.
Make sure, Fundraiser, we have it going on for our Mental Health Power Up series. All the proceeds are going to Guardians Mental Health to help them make fantastic mental health streaming kits that are completely free of charge. If you do need help, if you are suffering or if you are struggling, please go to Guardians Mental Health and get a kit for yourself if you want to. If you do donate, you are entered to win some fantastic codes from Xbox and some fantastic games from PlayStation. We'll have all that information in the show notes below. Any donation gets you entered to win some cool stuff. So please
donate. They actually have like little girls putting these little kits together.
That sounds a little bit like child labor, but no, they have wonderful people working on it.
It didn't sound like child labor until you said it sounded a little bit like it sounded cute.
They have little girls working on
it sounded adorable at first, and then you made it sound like child labor.
Anyways, bye guys. See you next week. See you later. Burn out. Everyone, we hope you have been enjoying Mental Health Power Up as much as we have. These conversations are incredibly important and we very much appreciate your time. But these conversations aren't the only thing that we're doing, Destiny. What is the second part to this?
Guys, the second part is pretty baller. So we are going to be asking you guys to donate money and share the information about the podcast, but specifically about Guardians Mental Health. They're this great organization that uses geek culture, the things that we absolutely love, comics, gaming, video games, to kind of help people who are struggling mentally and
Mm-hmm.
in a therapeutic way. And they put together these kits that they send out, and you don't have to pay for these kits. This is one of the most amazing things about what this
Mm-hmm.
organization is doing. They're sending out these kits, but obviously it takes money to print the materials, to get everything put together. And that's why we're raising money for them, because we want to help them so that they can help more of you guys. And Matt has got some amazing details about what you can win if we reach certain tiers.
That's right. You just need to donate to be entered. There is no amount that is too small or too large. Whatever you're able to do, $10 is what it costs to make these kits. So if you can do that, fantastic. If you could do absolutely anything, we would appreciate it. As we hit different stretch goals, we are going to be giving out different amazing gifts that we have for some amazing people that we're working with. So please hop over to that link, take a look. If you can donate, please do so. And you might just win something cool for yourself as well, because again, every little bit can make a difference in someone's life. So we thank you for taking the time to do so. If you can, if you can't, Destiny, if somebody can't donate, what else can they do to help?
They can just share the information, share it
Mm-hmm.
to your social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, wherever you have like a place that you like to interact with people online, share that information. And one of the things that I wanted to say, and I know Matt and Darren feel the same way, is we just want to thank you guys,
Mm-hmm.
because for each one of you that shares or donates, I'm just going to say it prematurely. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. This is so
Mm-hmm.
important to us, and it's important to our listeners, and it's one of the main reasons why we even started the podcast. Like, not only was it about gaming, but mental health has definitely been a strong core that
Mm-hmm.
we've always wanted to talk about. So this is our first time doing it. We're super excited. We hope you're excited, and yeah, donate, share the information, win some prizes, but most of all, just do it from the bottom of your heart. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like, the prizes are just kind of like icing on top of the cake. But
Exactly. So please be there for one another. Help us reach other people who might need to hear some of this, because we know how much it's helped us. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Like Destiny said, we'll see you on the next one, everybody. All the links will be in the show notes below. Check it out. Bye.